Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Single No More Online Summit. We are here to give you the tools to feel confident that you can not only meet, but keep your Mr. Right this year. And I say feel confident because I actually believe that it is in your power to meet the man of your dreams. And today we have none other than the infamous Marc, who is not only my favorite dating coach, but probably one of the top dating coaches in this country. And he gives more free advice to more than anyone I know, which I absolutely love. So he is described as the personal trainer for smart, strong, successful women. And his motto is understand men, find love, which I absolutely love. More importantly, he empowers women to make healthy, informed choices in love. And basically since 2003, he has been helping thousands of clients fall in love, get married, start families, and find happiness. And that's only with just a few months of coaching. So pretty incredible. He's killing it out there. So welcome, Evan. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. And all I'm fixated on is infamous.
Infamous, right? Like that?
Infamous. Who did I kill in my past?
You are the one and only. There is no other Evan Marc Katz. You know that.
I know. That's why there's the Marc. There's plenty of Evan Katzes. But anyway, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's so good to have you. So I love that you focus on smart, strong, successful women. And why do you think? I mean, do you think it's harder for smart, strong? And I'm going to include myself in that category as well. So it's like you're talking to me. But do you think it's harder for smart, strong, successful women to find love? And if so, why?
I would put it this way. The higher your standards, the harder it is to find anything. Mm-hmm. If you're a dating coach and you say, you can work with me, but to work with me is going to cost you $50,000. You may be worth $50,000, but if nobody's paying you $50,000, right, you might have to lower your prices. So ultimately, dating is kind of a matter of economics and supply and demand. Mm. If you feel that you have high value, you won't settle, that means it just becomes the same search that might be easier for a woman who's like, yeah, he's got a pulse, he makes 30 grand a year, he's got a 100 IQ, he lives in his hometown, I'll take him. Yeah. Right? Some woman's fine with that guy, it's a big country.
Yeah.
Right? But if you're not, right, and your standards are higher, it just means it's going to be a longer search. So that's, and there's blind spots that come with being a smart, strong, successful woman, which is another conversation. But just right on the very surface, the higher your standards, the longer it's going to take to find someone special.
Do you think we're conscious of those standards? Because obviously that's making it harder for us. And you would think, why would we do that? Do you think we're subconsciously setting those standards? Or is there a deeper, is there something deeper going on there?
Well, there's a lot deeper going on there, and it's my entire business. And the hard part about doing this, having this conversation with people who don't know me, sometimes the things that I say sound more challenging than I want them to. And I kind of consider myself like a doctor who's just reading your chart. I'm like, no, you've got high triglycerides and cholesterol. This isn't me. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. So, let's figure out how to do this. Because there's a lot of ways I could approach it. Mm-hmm. Let's just say that you consider yourself a 95th percentile woman. Okay. It's subjective. It's not real. The issue is that most 95th percentile women think they can and should only date up. Mm-hmm. Men don't have this problem. And this is a self-imposed woman problem. And I'm not going to talk about biology, sociology. Let's just say, if you think you're 95th percentile, if you're dating below you, that's settling. It's not. But you think it is.
Yeah.
Right? So I can only date the 5% above me. So right there, we've got a numbers problem. The percentage of men available to you is lower. Next, what percentage of those men in the 5% above you want you in return? Right? Because if you're, and again, this is not necessarily the best example, but if you're looking for George Clooney, maybe George Clooney is looking for you 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not right, fair, let's just observe it as it is. Mm-hmm. So A, small numbers. B, a decent percentage of those men who you want don't want you in return. Mm-hmm. And then C is the big one. It's the one people don't even think about. You get the male equivalent of you. Now what have we established? The same person. There's a lot of friction. Two people who are really busy, strong opinions, egos, ambitions, desires. Right? So when you're an alpha, a type A woman who dates a type A man, you often don't work. You are attracted, you like what you caught, but think about your previous relationships. Did they all work out? Were they seamless and smooth? No, they weren't. So even when you get the small percentage of guys who's above you, who likes you in return, you're not always compatible. So that's a couple reasons why it's a particular challenge and why I have a business for smart, strong, successful women. You don't have to change who you are. You don't have to change your personality. You might need to alter your choice in men. My mantra is I'm not teaching right and wrong. I teach effective and ineffective. Is it working? Is it not? If it's working, I'll never hear from you. If it's not working, perhaps I could walk you through and redefine what settling is. Right? Settling is having a relationship that's lacking in kindness, consistency, communication, commitment, character. It's not dating a guy who's 5'9". It's not dating a guy who makes less than you. So that's a hard lesson. This is what I deserve. Okay. Men don't date that way.
How do men date?
Is she pretty? Is she nice? That'll get you about 80% there.
True. I love it. You're direct, but you're fair, and you always are. And I remember, we're not certainly saying, oh, there's less pool to choose from. We're actually trying to say that there are switches and mind shifts that you can make that actually open up your pool of men versus decrease it. Because we think right now you might be decreasing it, but let's try to open it up.
That's perfectly fair, and I agree. I think it's important to provide validation to people because of their feelings, right? You never want to make anybody feel like they're wrong or that they're silly, or it's not the case.
Sure. I'll
be the first to come out and say 90% of guys suck. Not 50, 90% of guys suck. They're worthless. Right? I'm talking to women. 90% of guys suck.
Yeah.
But there's 10% who are worth your time. And that's the 10% that we're going for. Right? If you're open to 10% of the men on a dating site, you're in business. If you go to a dating site and you're like, I just scrolled through 500 guys, I only find 2 I like, we have a problem.
Yeah, it's true. It's so true. You make that point. I remember reading in one of your newsletters, you would say, because like you said, the 2 strong, successful people, and that's obviously my fiance is the same. He's very ambitious. He's busy a lot because he's successful. And then I remember you had to say, well, okay, but that's what you love about him. But yes, he might not, show up for dinner at 6 p.m. every night. He sometimes goes 2 hours over. Or, right, we'll be sitting at having a glass of wine and he needs to take a phone call, and I could sit there and get really angry about that. Or I could say, you know what? He's doing what he needs to do, and that's what I love about him. And there was definitely a time that I did get annoyed and felt like this wasn't going to work. But it's funny, I read your newsletter and I said, I remind myself that this is the trade-off. Exactly. It's what I choose.
And you could be with a less successful, ambitious, more available man.
Right.
And that has its merits too. So again, there's not a right or wrong. This is what works for you. But it's hard to be with a self-made millionaire and complain that to make his millions, he's working too hard.
Right.
And if you have a really sweet, available guy, you can't complain that he's not a self-made millionaire.
Right. Exactly. It's all on the table. It's so true. I also love how open you are about your journey. You went on 300 dates in 10 years. And I love when you said you've observed that many women who want to find love don't go on enough dates as they potentially should if they're really looking for love. So do you feel like your ability to get out there a lot or do that, or where did that come from? Did you just know that you had to be out there a lot to maybe see success? Did that prove successful for you?
I feel like if I had an alternate career, I'd be a public speaker and I'd talk about failure. I'm really good at failure. And I'm trying to teach that to my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hollywood kicked my ass. Right? Stack of screenplays, a dozen screenplays, 15 sitcoms, agents, managers, meetings at studios and networks, winning contests, no money by the time I was 30. Mm-hmm. And so because I'm pretty good at failure and reinvention, I seem to understand that if you have a goal, you have to pursue it vigorously. I always wanted to get married. I always wanted to have kids. There was never like a if, it was a when. Grew up in a highly functional family. And from the outside, you might say, oh, this guy's a player. He can't commit to anybody. The truth is, if I didn't see myself marrying her, why would I stick around? There's people who like stick around. Oh yeah, my wife was one of those. She was in relationships for like 13 out of 14 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. Like those are her relationships, and mine were like 3 months, 6 months. Mm-hmm. If I didn't see a future, I got out. I didn't see the point. So basically, any dating coaching, almost any helping profession, is reverse engineering success. What worked? Right? You're doing this same job that I am. What worked? What could I share that's going to save someone else the pain of the trial and the error? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I inadvertently did right was date with consistency, and it wasn't about volume. Mm-hmm. Right? People get fixated in volume, so there's usually like a vacuum. People will either take a 2-year hiatus. Oh my God, I'm so hurt by men. I'm just going to focus on myself and travel and put my energy into my career and, establish a meditation practice and do everything but date. Yeah. Under the guise of, I don't want to get hurt, but I'm going to pretend that it's really all about me. And then there's the other side, which is, I'm going to find my husband. And she's going on, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. Yeah. And the answer is in between. Yeah. Right. I tell my clients, date online for a half hour a day. Screen guys before you meet them. Don't just go on random blind dates with a guy you texted once. And if you go on 1 date a week, you're in business. If you go on 1 date a week, I work with clients for 6 months. You go on 1 date a week for 6 months, you're gonna find a guy you like.
It's a lot.
It's moderate. I'm fundamentally moderate.
Yeah.
1 day a week. 1 date a week is not a lot. Because again, if every guy is a potential lottery ticket, do you want to have like 1 date a month? You want to have 12 lottery tickets? Yeah. Or would you rather have 50 lottery tickets? Yeah. Right. And 1 date a week isn't going to burn you out. Going on 4 dates in 4 days, you're going to get burnt out quick. Yeah. So I don't know if I don't recommend volume for the sake of volume. Mm-hmm. You need volume online to vet and screen guys so you could get one decent date with the guy you kind of want to meet. Mm-hmm. Quality.
Mm-hmm. And how do you advise women to look for quality online? Because it is very hard. And obviously a lot of the stories, yourself and mine, is we probably ended up with people that we didn't think we would end up with. So we go online and we search for these things we want, but at the same time, we might end up with someone that isn't what we wanted. So how do people navigate, or, without feeling too overwhelmed, how do they approach online to start searching for not only quality, but relationship type guys? Because that's really what it's about.
I think there's a limited amount of information you can get from online, so you have to recognize it for what it is. It's an introduction medium. It's not matchmaking. You're not on there searching for your husband. It's a big bar and you're doing a lap and seeing who's cute. Right? So let's just recognize it for what it is. It's a box filled with people. And if you're open to 10% of the people and you go through 500 guys and you put 50 guys on your favorites list, right? And sorry, phone call, another dating coach. If you just have any system that you stick with, and again, it could be a workout routine, could be how you eat, could be how you sleep, could be when you eat lunch, or your system for answering emails at work. You have a system that works for you, right? You just have to continue to work that system. My system, when people are like, how do I find a good guy online with all the bad guys? How do I know who the 10% are? Well, there's a vetting process. How does a company know someone's a good candidate? It's not just the resume. It's not just the phone screen or the one job interview with HR. There's a process.
Yeah.
So I try to implement the process for women to screen men. And I teach it in my Love You course. I teach it in my Finding the One Online course. Right? It's not terribly complicated. I made a TED Talk about it. It's not terribly complicated. But most people are impatient. And so what they do is they get on Tinder. They look at guys based on how cute they are. They swipe right. And both people want to meet as quickly as possible with the minimum of friction to see if there's chemistry. And suddenly you're part of some guy's texting harem, and he's sitting there eating dinner, and he's texting 5 women watching TV at the same time. Nobody's important. So then you're like, why is this guy flaking on me? Why do I feel so disposable? Because you are. And by the way, he's disposable too.
Right.
Everybody's disposable because of the way we're doing it. Right. So I'm not anti-technology in the least. Technology brings out things that are already there for both men and women. We've gamified dating, and we've made it worse. So I invite people to think back. Again, I'm a little older, I'm 47. Invite people to think back to before there was online dating. Meet you at a party. We have a nice conversation for 15, 20 minutes. I say, Andrew, you want to step outside and grab a drink? And you're like, yeah, sure, let's go outside. We grab a drink. We talk for an hour. I'm like, oh my God, it's late. I got to run. Can I get your number? Call you later this week. You're like, sure. You write it on a napkin.
Yeah.
That's the way it used to be done.
I know.
And so literally what I'm trying to do is make online dating that.
Right.
Right. So I believe in conventional online dating sites, not apps. Right? Apps, online dating shallow. Apps has taken the depth out of shallow online dating. We've removed essays, we've removed emails. It's just pictures and swiping. So we've removed depth from a shallow medium. So I like conventional online dating, Match.com, OkCupid, where you have information.
Yeah.
I encourage people to write emails, not one-liners. This is not texting. We're having a conversation at a cocktail party. And if the conversation's going well at the cocktail party, hey, let's step outside. What's your regular email address? Andrea@gmail.com. Great. I'll send you a photo. We'll be in better touch while I'm at work.
Right.
When we get out of there, right? Just like stepping outside to buy a drink.
Yeah.
Continue the Gmail conversation for a couple days. And I'm like, hey, would love to meet you. Sounds great, Evan. Would love to hear your voice first. Tell you what, I'm around tonight at 7:30. Give me a call while I'm driving home. Can't wait. XO. You think that's going to work? I do.
Yeah.
I call it my 222 rule. Couple emails on the dating site, couple emails on Gmail, couple phone calls. This all happens in less than a week. And in that time, you will discover, is he stupid? Is he lazy? Does he follow through? Is he perverted? Is he nice? Is he funny? You're giving him rope to hang himself with based on his responses, the length, the timing, the tone.
Yeah.
If you remove those, you don't use email, you don't schedule a phone call, and you just do this, texting, good luck screening first dates. So people want the first dates. They don't want to do the screening. That's a waste of time. To me, a waste of time is spending 2 hours with someone that I hate.
Yeah. So
I teach people to put in the time up front to ensure better, at least, higher quality first dates with people that you want to meet. And if a guy gets through my little process, he earns Saturday night. If he puts a whole fight, he's like, can't we just meet? Just why don't you come over with a bottle of wine? Fuck you.
Yeah. Totally. No, it makes sense. It makes sense because, like you said, with the interview, it's like you have the resume, then you have the interview, then you come in, and then even still, you're on probation for probably 3 months. So, same thing, it's like, hey, you're going to go.
The whole point is when people don't trust their own judgment, which is my clients, probably your clients.
Yeah.
My job is to give them structure.
Right.
So they can know, is this normal? What should I do? Every time I've done this, I feel like I've done something wrong. Yeah. I'm like, here's what I've observed works.
Yeah.
Best practices. I can't swear to it. It's not a hard science.
Yeah.
But I've discovered that this might work better than the way you're approaching it.
Yeah.
And for most people, that's that shift, right? It's a 20% shift from here to here is life-changing.
Yeah. I like what you're saying. The fact that if there's any reason, Because if something's not working, you're not trusting your own judgment, just follow the protocol. That makes it, that takes the pressure off for them, I imagine.
Yeah, and again, it's like anything else. That's my Love You course, but it's anything in the world. I don't know how to do anything. If I want to hang a picture in my house, I hire a handyman. I'm useless with most things. But this is like, you give someone a recipe. All you got to do is follow the recipe. Yeah. You don't have to be a master chef who knows how things come together. Someone else figure that out for you. And that's all I've been doing, is trying to figure this out and how to make the process, right? Month 1 of my course is confidence, meeting men, dating, understanding men, relationships, commitment. So each one just sort of builds on the next, right? And as you develop confidence, you're better able to meet men. Now that you're meeting men, you can understand the mechanics of early phase dating. Now you have a boyfriend. What are you going to do with that guy? How can you tell chemistry and compatibility and attachment styles and how to communicate with him? So, when you have the same conversation on the phone every day for 15 years, you just have to systemize that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It makes sense. Because I can see how even in that short process, the 222, it seems very simple, but at the same time, if you don't have that confidence, you could read something into that, oh, he didn't write back in time. Or like you said before, I love it, where you said, all right, he's treating you as disposable, but he's disposable. And I don't think a lot of women have the confidence to realize that they're disposable too, and that's not okay. So
you've nailed it. And again, I'm not making any assumptions. If you've read any of my stuff, I tell women, you're the CEO and he's the intern applying for a job with you. How is he?
I love that. Yeah, I love it.
How is it? Is this guy coming in early, staying late? Does this guy want the job? Because if he doesn't, you're letting him coast on his resume.
Yeah, true.
Right? Yeah. So it becomes really clear once you just assume that identity. Oh, he has to follow through with me. He has to impress me. He has to go the extra mile.
Yeah.
Now we tolerate a lot less.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, and even with working with someone like you, women can get past that. Like that can change, I think, because I think a lot of people get stuck that, it's just not working. But sometimes it feels like there is work that can be done with themselves that can make that shift. And I know for me, the only time I saw a big shift was when I kind of looked at what I was doing.
Well, that's the hardest part, and certainly says a lot about you. It's so much easier to be a victim. It's so much easier to blame, and it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with people who are doing it. There is a basis in truth. It's just 50% of the truth. It's hard to date as a 50-year-old woman. Yeah. Did you know a lot of 50-year-old men don't want to date women my age? Yeah. Did you know that this city is particularly hard? Yeah. So even if it's all true, okay. What are we going to do in spite of the fact that you're a 50-year-old woman and you live in San Francisco and men are looking for younger? Okay, what are we going to do about it? So the complaints are valid. They just don't accomplish anything. They're not productive. And so what I try to do is okay, wherever you are, I've helped women who are 80 pounds overweight. I've helped women in their late 70s. I've helped women who live in the Yukon. I've helped women who are in a wheelchair. These are real stories of women who are in far worse conditions than anybody who's listening to this. So, this is an achievable goal, but you have to know how to, where do you start eating an elephant? You just got to take a bite. Just take a piece of it and break it down. You don't do the whole thing at once. Where's my husband? Hand me my husband. How can you tell from a guy's Tinder profile if he's commitment oriented? Oh, fuck, you can't.
Yeah. I agree. It's so true. And then I think also realizing that if you're trying to go the quick route, which you're saying pretty much doesn't work. It could probably work for some, but not a lot. And then if you're going to get
broken clock
thrown off by that, it's going to just only cause more, not say bitterness, but it could. And I know a lot of people that just, it's kind of like, with anything, it's like that. It's like the little olive branch, but if it doesn't work, you come back and then, you want to sit behind. It's not working. So
people draw logical conclusions in my experience, right? If you're a guy, you go online and you write to 50 women and nobody writes back, what's your conclusion? Is it there's something wrong with me? Or is it there's something wrong with this website or the women on this website? So when he gets rejected and he's written long emails, pouring his heart out, that women find creepy. He doesn't know that. He's just trying hard.
Yeah.
Right? Or he writes a form letter. Dear Andrea, I read your profile. You seem really interesting. Would love to get to know you better. What's the point of writing a long email if most women don't respond? So he sends you a form letter, and you're like, ew, form letter, try harder. So literally everything the guy tries doesn't work.
I know.
And then he comes back with, nothing's working, so he puts everything into the first email. Hey, Andrea, read your profile. You're really attractive. I think we have a lot in common. I'm not really good at this email thing. Here's my number. Text me. Maybe we can go out Saturday night. It's just jammed all into one email. And we've seen these guys. We've seen these emails.
Yeah.
This is the desperation of, in this instance, men who aren't good at online dating, who can't see what they're doing wrong. They're just doing the best they can. And women are like, oh, my God, these men. But you're not the one who's doing this.
Yeah.
Right? So women have such little sympathy for men who are getting rejected 90% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So little sympathy for these guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And all you're saying is, these guys suck.
Yeah, what are they supposed to do? What do you want to see from them?
There's a way to do it. Again, I was good at online dating. It's my one skill set. I was good at online dating. Once upon a time when I was single, 15 years ago. Right? But very few people take the time. They're doctors and they're lawyers and they're ad execs and people have other things. So there's wonderful men and wonderful women, including people who are listening to this right now, whose profiles are completely generic. Lists of adjectives, activities, cliches, hobbies, warnings to the opposite sex, diary entry, biography, anything other than what a really good profile is.
Yeah.
That's men and women alike. So women look at men like, what am I supposed to do with this? And men look at women, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
My first business was eCyrano, writing people's online dating profiles, because this is a different skill set. And so I think any problem, if you really sit and analyze it, there's a better way of doing things. And if I sound like a know-it-all, I couldn't come in and do your job.
Right.
And again, if you're an electrician, I can't come in and do your job. That's why I would hire you, because you know something that I don't. I've spent 16 years looking at this, so hopefully I know something that someone who's just toiled with this and tried and quit and tried and quit and tried and quit. There's a better way to do it. And online dating, again, is just a mechanism. This has nothing to do with, what really makes relationships work. Online dating just introduces you to people. Now there's the dating and relationship skill part, which is more than half the battle. Like my Love You course is 26 weeks. I've got 1 week on online dating. We just talk about it a lot because it's how we generate opportunity.
So I hear you saying also that a guy's going to put out a lot. He's going to maybe email 50 women, or, we kind of know guys because they want to meet women, which is great. It works really well. Do you encourage kind of women to, not to say put in the same amount of effort, but I don't know. I don't know if it's just enough to be there. How much do you encourage them to kind of almost be proactive? Because I also know a lot of old-fashioned women that just want to go, oh, I want him to, approach me, or.
Again, we fall into a lot of blind spots and fallacies when we do that. A lot of women say, I want guys to approach me, but they haven't really put out anything that's special or approachable. They haven't differentiated themselves. Your marketing is generic. You might be a lovely, unique woman, but I'm nice, smart, kind, warm, funny. I like hiking, biking, movies, music, travel. I'm looking for my best friend, lover, and partner in crime. I love men who make me laugh. I'm looking for a serious commitment. Literally anybody on the planet could write that.
Right.
And if you wrote some version of that, it's not getting you anywhere.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, a lot of women are expecting men to approach them, even though they haven't really differentiated themselves from the crowd. That's hard. People think they've done a good job. I get emails that say great profile. They got to say something to you. Right? They can't say nice boobs. So they're going to say great profile.
Even though they might be thinking that.
They got to say something. So a lot of people coast on mediocrity, men and women alike, and don't know that it's mediocre, don't know that there's another plane that they can get to that's going to give them an A+. And so when I have clients and I've remade their profiles, I pay for professional photos for them. I have them fill out a long questionnaire on my website. We spend an hour on the phone. I take notes and I rewrite their profile using 95% their words and about 5% mine. And I give them a technique for using these data sets. So once you're up and running and you have all this down, if you're still not satisfied with the quantity or quality of incoming, I teach you to do outreach. And that's literally half of online dating. This is my long answer to your short question.
Yeah, yeah.
Do I teach women to reach out? Absolutely. If you're not happy with what's coming in, go online, go get it. And I teach women to write to one guy a day, a certain style of email. I call it the opinion opener.
Yeah.
The way to create funny conversation with a guy that's not flat and lame. Right? Here's how you write something funny in a paragraph that's going to give you a 50% chance of him writing back. And if you write to one guy a day for 2 weeks between now and the next time I talk to you, you're going to be in business. You're going to have 5 to 7 guys who are in the hopper that you liked, not just last call guys coming to you.
Yeah.
So yes, it's lovely when guys reach out to you, especially ones you like. But if you're not satisfied, you should absolutely have the skill to create something from nothing.
Cool. I like what you said. So do guys respond to humor mostly? Is that?
Everybody responds to humor. Confidence and humor is everything. Most people haven't stopped and analyzed, why do I respond to certain guys? Right? Now you can say, well, it's because he's tall. It's because he's educated. It's because he's rich. You scroll down and just look at his vitals.
Yeah.
Right? But if you have 2 identical twins and they're both, again, forgive the terminology, they're both 7s.
Yeah.
They look the same. You're going to pay attention to the guy with the funny email. You will.
Yeah, no, I kind of really never thought of it that way. And I think when people are able to be funny or witty or anything, that almost exudes confidence, which again, deep down, I think is what both genders are attracted to. And that's,
right.
I never really took it to that level of just going, and if you're funny, you're relaxed. I think that's where that comes off. And all of a sudden people can then open up and versus seriousness, because maybe when we go back to people feeling interviewed and there was no chemistry on the date because you're interviewing each other and you're not being funny and you're not being lighthearted and you're just poking fun at each other, right?
So people,
I'm having
what comes naturally to them, but if what's coming naturally to you isn't working,
right.
there's another opportunity. Like I stumbled onto this, and I was a failed Hollywood comedy writer, right?
Failures are the road to success, you say.
I'm saying, but I was a failed Hollywood comedy writer who just happened to be, I found my medium was online dating. I just happened to be able to write good profiles and keep a bunch of clever conversations going on at the same time and remain detached from the outcome and show up feeling comfortable on a first date. So, you either teach what you need to learn,
right,
or you teach what you know.
Yeah.
And, the nice part about it is this isn't, brain surgery or higher level calculus. Like anybody can kind of do this.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, I'm not good in writing. Well, if you could talk, you could write. You have the same vocabulary, stories, personality.
Yeah.
You have time to come up with an answer. No one's rushing you.
Yeah.
So if it takes you 5-10 minutes to write one good email to someone you're interested in, to me, that's worth the effort.
And I like what you're saying. There's room to fail. Just try different things. Failing in this is not,
Oh, and to be very clear, when I said I was good at this, I still got rejected more than 50% of the time. That's what good at this is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure you come across a lot of women who have that fear of rejection, though. How do you help them not
normalize it?
What's that?
Like, how do you get over a fear of heights?
True.
We normalize it. Right? It's all predictable. So I think the problem is that people don't understand that. Right? A woman can literally get an inbox, have 50 guys write to her, delete 45 of them, right? Like that, without even thinking.
Yeah.
Is she stopping to think, that poor guy is going to be so rejected, he should probably just give up on dating. No one's going to respond to him. No, she's just thinking, he's not for me.
Yeah,
right?
That's okay.
So men understand this, unfortunately, better than women do, because they're the ones who are usually putting themselves out more. I had a client who worked with me, and I said, here, I told her my system. Get online for a half hour a day, initiate contact with one guy a day. 2 weeks later, she comes back. Evan, I did what you said. It was terrible. I'm never doing this again. And we go into her inbox, and you know what I see? And this is no joke. She logged in 3 times in 14 days. She wrote to 3 guys, 1 a day. One of them replied to her, no thanks. One of them took down his profile. right? One of them actually wrote back to her. She got rejected once.
Yeah.
And she was done.
Wow.
That's how low a tolerance she had. She thought she did what I asked. She thought she wrote to a guy. I really believe that. I did what you said.
Wow.
Right? She got rejected once, and it was too much for her to take. And so it's recognizing that it gets cold in the winter. There's traffic at rush hour. And if you're dating online, a good percentage of people are not your husband. In fact, most of them are not your future husband. Don't be surprised or disappointed or bent out of shape. It is the most predictable thing in the world. When we anchor, I really like this guy. This guy seems different from his profile. And you start to fantasize, that could be the one. That could be the guy who saves me from my life of loneliness. Well, you're really setting yourself up for a fall. It's all very fluid. It's a big revolving door. And the 5 guys you're talking to online right now, 2 weeks from now, you're probably going to be talking to another 5 guys.
Yeah.
And how many times do you need to go through this to recognize that what I'm saying is true? It's not the way I feel. It's not what I want to be. It's constant revolving door. Mm. The next guy has nothing to do with the last guy. And there's always a new guy. It's like if you miss a bus, another one drives up 15 minutes later. Yeah. So I teach people this is life skills. It's what you want to teach your kids about failure and bouncing back and survival. But if you internalize it, this guy I liked ignored me, I'm going to go kill myself. That's not much of a solution. Yeah. I'm going to take I can't do this. I just can't deal. Yeah. Your alternative is what? Working in a small office with 6 other women and wondering why you never go on any dates. Right? So it's like, as blunt as I sound, what's the solution? Yeah. If you're not going to gird yourself to this process, and I would point out to anybody here who has a job, if you're unemployed, what do you do to find a job? You sit on your couch and just wait for the job fairy to come down the chimney? Mm-hmm. You hustle. Yeah. You feel like you have to. We treat this as if it's optional. To me, love isn't optional. But other people are like, I can live without it. I got my friends, my family, my job, my dog, and we're fine. And they set their life here. They anchor themselves here. They never get to achieve this because they think that this is okay. This is safe. But as you know, recently engaged, there's such a big difference between having someone and not having someone. And again, God bless the people who keep on trying and aiming high. Those are my people. I like the way you put it. By setting it as optional, you're going to get, probably mediocre results because you're putting in mediocre effort. I never really thought of it that way, but for those people who want it, they get it. It's like anything in life. If you want it, you get it. You're going to go through failures. I love that. I got a client who's 64, never married, built a successful law firm, right? And she's got the dating experience of a 16-year-old girl, right? And she's nervous and anxious, insecure, act strange around guys, sex, the whole thing. Yeah. It's a muscle she's never used. It's like, imagine if you put a fraction of the 60 hours a week that you put into work for 30 years. You took 5 hours a week to look for love. Right? So people kind of go all in. Well, at least work, I'm appreciated. At least I'm good at work. At least I get remunerated for that. Right? So they just double down on this thing. And then you look up and you're like, great, I've traveled to every country. I've had $18 cocktails in 4 seasons around the world, and I'm by myself. Congratulations. Do you win? Yeah. Nobody, and there's virtually nobody who's like, yes, that's exactly the life I want. Right. People could justify it because they're afraid of getting hurt. They're afraid of being vulnerable. They're afraid of being rejected. They're afraid of spending a couple of years on a guy who doesn't turn out to be the husband. So you put up the wall and you stay safe. And you also stay single. And you don't get actual unconditional love. That really takes your life to a higher plane. Yeah, I can see as you say that story, it's super easy to avoid, especially when we can focus on work. And like you said, look where that could potentially get you. At the same time, you said before, someone could go, oh, this person's going to save me, which that is not actually probably a good situation either, because then, like you said, the tolerance is really low. So I can see those kind of 2 extremes, and it does take effort and time to work to somewhere in the middle. And that's kind of where it really starts, because you don't want
you can easily avoid it, but you don't want it to think that a relationship's going to save you. So those are really good ways to look at it.
I think if we just look at it like almost anything else in life, we treat dating as if it's different. We should just be good at it. It shouldn't just happen naturally. Why do I have to work at it? Why would I have to pay someone? My God. I'm paying someone to paint my house right now. I guess I could get a can of paint and do it myself. There's specialists in the world, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so when someone's not satisfied with the status quo, you got to do something different. So what I try to do is just destigmatize asking for help, demystify this process that's so confusing and scary for most people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And just let you know, like, hey, if you're cutting your way through a jungle with a machete, right? Oh my God, this is overwhelming. There's literally a path right next to the jungle that you don't even see.
Right.
A lot smoother and paved. Right. And that's my job. I created that path and most people don't even know it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. I love it. And I love it, like you said, normalizing it. That actually just, once again, doesn't make it feel like it needs to be so hard. It is predictable. I love that you phrase it that way. I have another question from a man's perspective, because I used to get this a lot from my mom saying I was going to be too intimidating to men. Like, what is intimidating about a woman to a man?
I'm probably not the best person to ask because I don't get intimidated. Yeah. Honestly, it's not bragging. It's true. When I was making $50,000 my first year of running this business, I had a girlfriend who made 4 or 5 times what I made. Right? The only problem we had is she treated me like I should be an equal partner in pay. Right? And again, I think this is useful. I always bring this up because I think it's funny. Think about this. And I'm just, because we get into the smart, strong, successful thing, it opens up a whole can of worms, and I don't mind diving into it. Man makes $250,000. His school teacher girlfriend makes $50,000. Who pays for stuff?
He does.
He does. Across the board. If she lifts a finger, he's a cheap bastard.
Mm-hmm.
Woman makes $250,000, man makes $50,000. Who pays?
He does. Both.
How fair is that?
Yeah.
So I've been both guys.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been both guys.
Yeah.
And so when we get into this question of men are intimidated by successful women, some men are. Insecure men who are, don't like their place in the world, don't feel confident in their own intelligence or their own outward success, define success by money and power. Mm-hmm. Some guys are, in fact, intimidated. That is true. Mm-hmm. But then there's guys who aren't. And here's the challenging problem. It's not that they're intimidated. It's that the women who are dating them look down on them and don't respect them and want them to change. And so how confident can he be with the girlfriend who looks down on him? Does it make any sense?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately.
I married a woman who made 1/5 of what I did when we met. There was never a moment where I expected her to make more or disrespected her for choosing a career path where I own my own company and she was an employee at a company. She was perfectly happy at her company for 16 years. Right? But I was with her for love. I wasn't with her to support me.
Yeah.
I can support myself. That's the whole point of having your own money, is to be able to support yourself. Yeah. So the only double standard in the world that doesn't go against women, most double standards are terrible for women, right? In our great patriarchy. The one double standard that works for women is, I'm a smart, strong, successful woman. I am equal to or greater than any man. I should have equal opportunity, equal pay. I want a man to take care of me and I never want to lift a finger. That's the only double standard that seems to still work for women. Mm-hmm. Men used to pick up the check because women didn't have educations or jobs.
Right.
But I still want chivalry now. This outdated thing. It feels good. It lets me know that he cares. He's making an investment in me. Right. And he's supposed to do that for the rest of my life. So I'll tell you, when I had the girlfriend who made 5 times more than we did, and she booked a trip at a 5-star resort and expected me, $50,000, to spend $500 a night or go half in on $500 a night. I can't do that.
Right.
But she expected it because I was the guy, and that's what guys do. There's no such thing as a man who makes $250,000 who would expect his $50,000 girlfriend to pay.
Right.
So that's the conversation we need to be having about what intimidating is, because insecure men, get rid of them. But there are perfectly secure men who are high school English teachers and soccer coaches who make $55,000 a year, summers off, home at 4 with a pension. We're very bright guys. And they're cute, and they're nice, and they're family oriented. And women dismiss them as husband partners because they need a guy who makes more than they do. These are the same women that men marry like that. So if we're really trying to redefine 21st century gender roles and be egalitarian about it, I nudge women to date like men. Rupert Murdoch has never said, I need another billionaire. I need a woman who's 30 years younger and blonde. But he's never said, I need another billionaire.
Yeah.
All right. So I had a client. She had a private jet. She had 6,000 employees. Right. By the time she was done with me, she was dating her yoga instructor. She realized she didn't need a private jet. She had one. She needed a guy who was emotionally available, invested in her, sensitive to her needs, cute, funny.
Yeah.
That's a shift.
Like you said, you're looking at them for love. So like you said, or were you looking for them to what? Add to your resume? Like that's not the point, right? Like,
but that's the hard part, because we think this is what I am attracted to, this is what I respect, this is what I deserve. Right. But if men dated the same way, nothing would ever get off the ground. True. You've never seen a man, I need to date someone who's taller than me. I need to date someone who's smarter than me. I need to date someone who's richer than me. These are things that women have chosen. And we can get into sociology, biology, why this is the case. But then we get into, is this effective or ineffective? If you're a 95th percentile woman and you went to an Ivy League school and you think a man who didn't go to an Ivy League school is beneath you, you're going to struggle. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. It's just like you said, is it working or is it not? So, oh my gosh, such good, interesting stuff. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that we haven't covered so far that you believe would be helpful for women to know? There's a lot of things we haven't covered. It's not your fault. It's time. There's only so much we could accomplish in an hour. My Love You course is a 6-month course. There's 20 hours of video in there. So there's a lot more to come out. But hopefully you liked where the conversation went. You were very generous in giving me a wide berth to spout off, and I appreciate it. It's you have a hard job, and you're probably a great date because you let me be myself, and I felt very comfortable with you. Oh, good. Yeah, I've always, like I said, I was always a good dater, but for some reason it was beyond that. That was the hard part. The committing was the hard part for me. But like we were saying, I worked through it, and that's why I want to just encourage everyone else to realize that it's not always just black and white. We are human beings, we are complex. And I think if we realize that there's another person on the other side of you as well that's complex, that it doesn't necessarily have to be, like you said, a bad thing. It doesn't have to be friction. It could be an opportunity. It could be interesting. So I agree. So yeah, I'm grateful to be here. If anybody here wants to know more about me or my content, I've got a blog, I got a podcast, I got a YouTube channel. And I've got a program called Love You, which is the 6-month curriculum that walks you through everything so that you can make better relationship choices with men. Just go to evanmarckatz.com and look around, and thank you for having me. Like I've always said, I feel like you're that older brother that if someone doesn't have to kind of give you that advice and just tell you like it is, that's you. I'll take that as a compliment. I think that's the way it was intended. And my little sister finds me insufferable. First time I wrote a book, she goes, "Why would anybody read a book by you?" And so, I appreciate that after 16 years, I get to do this, and there's people who listen, and it makes a difference, and I get, wedding photos and all the good stuff that comes with this kind of career. And again, I just thank you for giving me the opportunity to share some ideas with your audience. Thank you for your time. I mean, I've been on your newsletter. Check it out. It's the best newsletter out there. And even today, I still learn more things from you. So I think that's the beauty of it, is that there is still so much more to know. And amazing, after knowing you this long, I still get new stuff from you. So well, it's because I'm still learning. I mean, that's the great part. You know the same thing. You talk to your clients, and you're working through their problems with them and thinking out loud. You're like, oh, that was interesting. I'll write that down. And so everything that I write is directly pulled from the interaction where I'm forced to challenge my thinking or my client's thinking and overcome some sort of obstacle that I hadn't seen before. So I'm really glad that you're having that experience, because that's why I still write, is I'm still not bored with this job.
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting as well that through this journey of working out my relationship, I had 2 coaches. So actually I had one coach for myself personally. My now fiance and I, we went to an intimacy coach as well, and we went to 2 counselors. Okay. So I think, like you're saying, I think we should know, and I read a ton of books, and I talked to a lot of other love coaches as well. So it's okay, and it's okay to get this understanding from someone, like we said, who's been in the business for so long. And I don't think I normally would ever have admitted that, but I want people to realize that it's okay, and it's a real thing. And in the end, it got me to where I wanted to be, and I never would have gotten here without all the assistance that I had along the way.
Same here. I mean, it's one is doing oneself a disservice if they think they could float through life without help or support. And I've invested in business coaches, very expensive business coaches, but they were always a good investment, because I'm a writer. I'm not a great businessman. And so sometimes you need some outside perspective to tell you where you should be going. So yeah, now listen, we agree. And I hope your event is successful. And again, I hope all the women who are listening get great value out of today and all the other people that you're talking to.
I cannot wait to share this with everybody. This is going to be phenomenal. So thank you, Evan. I appreciate it. And we will talk soon. Bye.